a strong heart, a steady stride, a life full of milestones. El Camino Health is here for you. From advanced heart and vascular care that keeps you on beat, to expert orthopedic treatments that keep you moving, and innovative cancer care that fights alongside you, with expert care for women, men, and new moms, supporting you through every chapter of your health, because every life we touch is built on trust and compassion. El Camino Health, our strength, your health.
This Wednesday evening edition of the Stingray Show is brought to you by our newest advertising partner. Let me tell you about the best place to get great-looking game day gear. J&J Apparel is your trusted local source for one-of-a-kind, officially licensed collegiate apparel. These guys aren't just guessing, they're living it. J&J's polos, tees, and hats show what happens when true fans design the merch. Serving Alabama, Auburn, Mississippi State, and Ole Miss fans since 2004. Get it online at jnjapparel.net. Once again, that is jnjapparel.net. The downtown Tuscaloosa location or at trusted local stores across the Southeast. Check out J&J Apparel today. It is time for the Texas A&M and LSU preview show right here on the Stingray Show. The LSU Tigers are reeling right now after a loss on Saturday to Vanderbilt. And here comes a red-hot Texas A&M football team. However, Texas A&M has not beaten LSU in Baton Rouge since 1994. That is a long time ago. Olin Buchanan, Texas Radio, and Preston Guy joins us on this edition of the Stingray Show for a preview of the Aggies and the Tigers right here on the Stingray Show.
Hi, this is Tim Brando with a reminder. Those of you on Tide 100.9, look out. You're about to feel the buzz of Stingray.
This is Stephen Ray, a.k.a. Stingray, coming to you live from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
I'm Heath Hopkins. I'm here in DeSoto County, Mississippi, right outside of Memphis, Tennessee. You know, Mark, I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you feel that responsibility to pay it forward and give some kid a chance coming up in the ranks, kind of like Tony did for you?
Why do you think I'm talking to Stingray tonight?
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
No, I mean, look, no.
Hey, Stingray, Here's the deal. When you get involved with Texas, it's like getting married to a stripper. and let me explain this. It looks good. It's kind of sexy on the surface. Yeah. But then you get the baggage, you get the drama, you get all that eventually comes with it. And that's what you get with Texas, and that's what the Big 12 learned.
And Heath, any thoughts on our show moving forward?
Hey, to everyone in Tuscaloosa listening here on Tide 100.9. With the Stingray Show, if you don't like it, you better learn to love it, because it's the best show going today, baby. Woo!
And with that, I want to welcome you inside the Wednesday evening edition of the Stingray Show. And things are not good right now down on the bayou at LSU. However, they are really good right now in College Station. We are going to begin the preview of LSU and Texas A&M with our good friend from TigerBait.com, who is Preston Guy. And oddly enough, Preston texted me on Sunday after the Vanderbilt loss and did tell me that he felt like that this could be the beginning of the end for Brian Kelly. So let's dive into why he thinks that. Preston, how are things with you this evening, and how are things on the bayou as LSU gets ready to host Texas A&M?
Oh, Stephen, thanks for asking, man. I'm doing great. I don't know how things are doing on the Bayou. It's some pretty turbulent times. You find yourself in year 4 of the highest profile coach you've ever hired at LSU, the highest paid coach with a 90% guaranteed contract for 10 years. And you're in year 4 and people are pretty unhappy with the results. Of course, after 4 years, Brian Kelly hasn't put together a team that would have been good enough to make a 12-team playoff. And that's just not sitting well. And technically they're still alive, but that involves winning out. And that starts this weekend against number 3 Texas A&M.
And then, of course, they've got Alabama looming as well.
Yeah, no, really tough. And especially you're going to have to go to make the playoffs. You're going to have to beat Arkansas. You're going to have to go to Oklahoma and win. And you're going to have to go to Alabama and win. Now, you do get A&M at home, and that's a godsend because Brian Kelly has officially not been very good at all on the road for LSU. If you look at the regular season for Brian Kelly, he is 8-11 on the road during the regular season. Okay. Those 8 wins, man, Steven, check this out. I got it written out for you right here. 5-7 Auburn, 6-7 Florida, 7-6 Arkansas, 5-7 Mississippi State, 7-6 Arkansas, 3-4 Clemson, 9-4 South Carolina, and 11-2 Missouri, who did go on to win the Sugar Bowl. But you know what that tells me? LSU doesn't beat good football teams on the road under Brian Kelly.
Yes.
LSU does not beat good teams on the road under Brian Kelly. And you compound with the fact that now he is 5-10 against ranked teams at LSU. He currently is 92nd in red zone scoring and 116th in the country in rushing. That's just not cutting it here for LSU, especially this is a roster. This isn't a like, well, it's a young team and they're building for the, no, Stephen, they've got 16 players that are either seniors or juniors likely to be drafted this year in the NFL draft. You're going to have to completely rebuild this roster next year. You're going to need another $20 million or more to go out to the NIL and get players in the portal to have any. It is going to be. So if this is not the beginning of the end, it will require a Herculean effort from Brian Kelly to rebound from this. Now, coaches have done it before at LSU. Coach O, when he lost to Troy in 2017, his first season, that took a Herculean effort to rebound from. And of course, he went and assembled the greatest college football team that has ever touched the turf with the 2019 LSU Tigers. But then after that, we won't talk about what happened after that. And it's basically since then, it's been rocky to mundane times here in Louisiana.
So let's dive into it a little bit from this season. They have been really shaky on offense. They have an elite defense, but the offense has issues. It can't run the ball and it can't score. Give us your thoughts on the issues at hand with this LSU offense.
Yeah, it's really like they it seems all year, or really the entire tenure of Brian Kelly, the trademark has been one step forward, 2 steps backward, and the offense between Nussmeier, he's been fighting an abdominal injury this year and he's had trouble, throwing the ball downfield, and the running game has struggled all year and the offensive line has been bad all year. So there's always just been something, right? LSU is one of 2 teams in the FBS who has not scored 25 or more points against a Power 4 team. The other one being UNC. That's right, Chapel Bill Belichick, not the company you want to be keeping in the year 2025 at all. That is bad. Now, the defense has been very good against Vanderbilt. They were down 4 key players, okay? I'm not going to say they were 100%. Whit Weeks was out. That hurts. Bernard Gooden was out, and a few other guys were out as well. That hurts, but still, your defense shouldn't be as fragile as to lose 4 key starters and be abysmal like they were against Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt drug them up and down the field. They scored on 5 of their first 6 possessions. Basically, the average drive for Vanderbilt was about 9 plays, 50 yards, a score, and about 4.5 minutes off the clock. That was the average drive to begin the game for Vanderbilt. That's not good. You're not going to win very many football games like that, especially with this offense, which, as I just mentioned, has been anemic. And the saddest part about this offense is they actually have a decent rate of quality drives, meaning drives with multiple first downs. They actually rank toward the top in the country in quality drive rate. The problem is on those quality drives, they're averaging less than 2 points per drive. So that's last in the country. So they just aren't able to convert these yards to points. And it all starts with a weak running game. And frankly, I think that there's a lot of coaching blunders going on right now with when it comes to executing when it matters.
All right, Preston, if LSU pulls the trigger and lets Brian Kelly go, or if Brian Kelly were to take another head coaching job somewhere else that's open, who would you like to see be the head coach at LSU?
All right, let's add a caveat here. Are you real attainable or unattainable? Which list am I going for?
Just whichever one.
Well, if it's unattainable, give me Saban, baby.
Yes.
Let's ride. Let's fix your reputation down here on the Bayou, Coach. Let's bring us back. That's. I mean, look, send them an email and let them say no. But don't waste it. It's not going to happen. I mean, then Dan Lanning, someone like that, shoot big. I don't think either one of them are going to come. But make them say no, I guess. Anyways, let's go to attainable guys. Yeah. Lane Kiffin is an interesting name. He's certainly done a lot, although you do have to question that huge NIL investment they made in their roster and the fact that team didn't make the playoffs. A lot of people are scratching their head about that. There's a couple guys. Kirk Cignetti, I know he just signed his deal, and I know he's 65 years old, but frankly, his buyout is only $16 million. If LSU were to make the decision for Brian Kelly for $53.3 million, that's his buyout. $16 million is chump change at that point. Get the coach you want at that point, right? So all that to say, I don't know if LSU will or will not fire Brian Kelly. I know at the moment the funds are not there to do it, but I also know that losing changes the way people think. And you also have to think they're going to have to revamp this offensive coaching staff. And it'll be interesting to see, because if you have no faith in your coach and you're going to think, okay, well, we don't have the money to fire him, but maybe let's ride out this contract for a year or two until we have enough money to pay that buyout, right? Maybe you're in a situation where, you can sit there and say, okay, well, we don't want to dig ourselves a deeper hole by giving you a $2.5 million coordinator that's going to need that. They might do what they did to Coach O in 2021, where they said, look, Coach O, you botched the Bo Pelini hire. You have to fire him. He has a colossal buyout. Here's $1 million. Go find a Joe Schmo rookie coordinator. Go to the NFL and find a position coach. And he's not going to have any buyout. And they're going to take a risk on coming to a sinking ship. And that's exactly what Durante Jones and Jake Peets did. They went onto a sinking ship. They had very small buyouts. They had very small contracts. And Coach O couldn't get it done with two rookie coordinators.
Preston, we're up against our first break of the evening. When we come back, you and I are going to dive into this matchup with Texas A&M and how you think LSU could potentially pull the upset of the year. That's on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Stingray Show. We will return right after this.
Your old pal Spooky here, welcome you out to Spook Trail Haunted Maze. Spook Trail 269. Spook Trail!
Spook Trail Haunted Maze is one of Alabama's longest haunts, founded in 1989 and has been running strong since then. Over a quarter-mile long outdoor maze in the woods, through an old junkyard, through twists and turns into the darkness. If you are looking for an extreme adventure into some of the darkest areas of your mind, then this is the place for you. Due to the nature of their paths, you will be entering at your own risk. Look up Spook Trail Haunted Maze on Facebook to see what days are going to be open. Just minutes from Birmingham and Jasper in Quinton, Alabama. And remember,
Spook Trail!
We all enjoy the changing of the seasons. Fall is a special time to be thankful for our families and many blessings. It is also a great time, though, to review your insurance coverages. Alpha Insurance and hometown agent Jeff Nee can help you personalize your insurance needs. The more you protect, the more you save. With helpful customer service teams right here to serve you in Alabama and over in Mississippi, you can count on Alpha to provide the insurance plan that provides the protection that you need. For all your auto, home, life, and business insurance needs, call Alpha agent Jeff Nee at 205-758-2577 or drop by his office at 202 McFarland Boulevard East, Suite 101 in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And remember, with Jeff Nee, the more you protect, the more you save.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. North on Highway 69 from Old Greensboro Road to Skyland Boulevard, it's an 8-minute drive. East on McFarland from Coker to Jack Warner Parkway, it's a 14-minute drive. Watch for ongoing construction on McWright's Ferry Road. It's being extended down to Rice Mine Road. Also, long-term construction on Skyland from I-359 to Buttermilk Road. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Lisa Bakke.
Want to jump into any of the shows? Call Tide 100.9 right now at 205-342-9904.
Will somebody answer that damn phone?
That's 205-342-9904.
Welcome back inside the Stingray Show. My guest this evening for the LSU and Texas A&M preview show from the LSU side is Preston Guy, who's joined us many times before. And Preston, let's go on ahead and talk about the Texas A&M football team this weekend. What has impressed you the most about Texas A&M so far this season?
I mean, they have beaten some tough teams. They went to Notre Dame and got a win there. Marshall Reed is looking like he's a lot more polished of a passer. That running attack is sharp. I mean, it looks like the talent is starting to come together. That being said, you can't tell me that in Aggie land they don't have some sort of anxiety. Like it feels almost too good to be true for them at this point. Maybe that's just beaten Aggie syndrome or whatever else. But I've been impressed on paper. There's a reason they're a 2.5-point favorite. By the way, when was the last time a team not named Alabama was a favorite in Tiger Stadium? That's been a while.
So when you look at this matchup, Preston, where do you feel like that LSU can take advantage of Texas A&M if there's anywhere?
Oh, man. That's a tough one because it is a complete team that Mike Elko's got over there. My best guess would be maybe the vertical passing attack. This defense can maybe limit what Marshall Reed can do in the air, but even he's improving quite a bit on that. I mean, he's completed 60% of his passes. He's got 15 touchdowns on the year. So maybe they can limit that vertical passing attack. This defense is still a staunch unit, and they are getting more bodies back this week. More so than, the matchup itself, man, I would just point to the general juju of coming to Tiger Stadium. LSU's down and out. They're backed into a corner. They're clearly not as good a team as Texas A&M, and a lot of times that's the very reason the team pulls the upset. Where do you feel like that LSU can take advantage of, or I'm sorry, let me start that over. I just asked you that. Where can Texas A&M take advantage of LSU? Yeah, well, number one, I just mentioned Marshall Reed's arm, which is not his legs is what is the big advantage there. So Blake Baker, his Achilles heel of his defense since he got here at LSU has been quarterbacks who can break down a play and run. That's what Diego Pavia did last week. It's what Trinidad Shameless did for Ole Miss. And it's what Marshall Reed did a year ago. Boy, he came in at halftime and just absolutely electrified. And LSU's defense just had no response for it. That is one thing that genuinely scares me is because it is a stout defense, but they do lose contain on the running back. A little bit of that is by sheer design of the system of Blake Baker sending all these blitzes and relying on them to be contained. But you're talking about you're throwing guys full speed at a guy who can make one guy miss, and then there's a running lane, and then you've got 20 yards to run before the safety cleans it up. That is something that scares me in particular, not to mention the front seven for A&M against LSU's anemic offensive line. But I almost don't want to mention that as a weakness because LSU's offensive line has been so weak this year. They've struggled against anybody. Yeah. It doesn't really matter. Just line a body up against these guys at this point. And, particularly, by the way, with Tyree Adams out this week, your left tackle, who's probably been your best offensive lineman this year in a putrid offensive line year. It's like, okay, they're going to struggle to block Texas A&M up front. They're going to struggle to block everybody, so who cares?
So how do you see it playing out Saturday down on the Bayou as A&M has not won at Tiger Stadium since 1994? Does that streak end, in your opinion, Saturday night?
Yeah, I think it does. I wouldn't be doing my job if I sat here and predicted LSU to win based on what we've seen. I will throw out there just the general juju of LSU is still a very talented 85-man roster backed against the wall right now. And Brian Kelly knows what he's coaching for. They're going to try everything they can. And it does seem like Tiger Stadium has just been absolutely cursed for Texas A&M over the years. If you remember, Texas A&M's brought a lot of teams that were better than LSU to Tiger Stadium. 2021 had a very good football team brought to LSU, and Coach O in his final game pulled out a W. So, I think Texas A&M should win by double digits. It should be comfortable. But, I think that that's not accounting for the magic of SEC football. I think that there's a lot of reasons why LSU should lose this game. And for that very reason, it's sometimes the football gods like to make you look dumb.
Okay. Let me also ask you, how are the fans treating Brian Kelly right now? Have they checked out with Brian Kelly as their head coach?
Yeah. For the most part, yeah. I mean, I did a Twitter poll, got 4,000 votes on it. 82% said they wanted him gone. And whether you want him officially fired, a lot of people don't want him fired simply because that's $53.3 million. And that's just an ungodly amount of money. And let me just say, from a broader standpoint, paying these coaches tens of millions of dollars to not coach, that's disgusting. Something needs to happen with that. It's just immoral to give someone for stinking at their job and getting fired that kind of money, the money James Franklin is getting, the money Jimbo Fisher got. It's just wrong. It's just wrong on so many levels. But anyways, a lot of people probably don't want to fire him simply because of that. And maybe within that 18%, so that's all of them. So yeah, none of them are doing well. Go to a gas station, find someone wearing an LSU shirt, and just say the word 53.3. They'll know exactly what you mean, and they're going to be real angry right now. It is, emotions are high. Like I said, this is probably the most contemptuous it's been in LSU since LSU lost to Troy in 2017.
Looking forward, how do you feel like the rest of the season is going to play out for this LSU football team?
Yeah, I mean, Stephen, the unfortunate news is if they can't beat Vanderbilt on the road, they're staring at 7-5 square in the face. That's the harsh reality here. Texas A&M is clearly the better football team than LSU. Even at home, I can't with a straight face say they will win. I will pick them to beat Western Kentucky. I will pick them to beat Arkansas. But then you got to go on the road to play Oklahoma, and you got to go on the road to play Alabama. What about those 8 wins that I read off to you? Gives you confidence that Brian Kelly can go in and win those 2 games?
No.
Why would you have any confidence? There's nothing that I've seen that gives me confidence, right? So I'm going to take that and I'm going to use my brain, and I'm going to say that LSU we're staring at 7-5 right now. Now, they might rip off one they shouldn't, go 8-4. That's not going to do. The only thing, Stephen, that will make the fans believe in Brian Kelly again, win out, make the playoffs, look competent when you get there. That's it. because this is year 4, baby, and it's playoffs or bust down here on the Bayou. And fans are not accepting the fact that it's 4 years of this and you haven't been close. You haven't been close to the playoffs yet. So they need something to change.
Preston, look, man, thank you as always for taking time to tell us about all of the issues down on the Bayou. Good luck to LSU this weekend. Hopefully they can pull an upset and keep that streak alive of A&M not winning in Tiger Stadium since 94. And we will catch up with you later on, my friend. I was waiting for you to say something else, man.
I thought you were just wrapping it up and we were doing an outro.
All right, man. Well, you be good, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Appreciate it, man.
All right. So, guys, that is going to wrap up Preston Guy of TigerBait.com. I really do want to thank him for taking time to tell us all of the issues down on the Bayou. And when we come back on the Stingray Show, we are going to be talking about the Texas A&M Aggies, who are coming into this game red hot off of a win over Arkansas. Olin Buchanan is on deck to talk with us right after this.
Your flagship home of Alabama sports. We are a championship school, and school is in session.
He'll go on the toss to Jam. He cuts it back. He's got a first down.
Join us Saturday as the Crimson Tide head east for SEC action against South Carolina. Our coverage begins at 11:30 on your home for Alabama football.
Presented by Pearl River Resort in Choctaw, Mississippi. Online at pearlriverresort.com. And Tuscaloosa Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Online at TuscaloosaCDJR.com. And by DCH Regional Medical Center. Online at DCHSystem.com.
It's college football season, and what goes well with college football? Events. And if you have an event coming up and needs catering, let Certified Chef Jamie and the Coker Market do the event for you. Here are just some of the things that Coker Market have to offer for your catering needs. Pulled pork by the pound, chicken tenders by the dozen, smoked wings by the dozen, or a half a slab of ribs or a full slab of ribs. Contact Jamie and the Coker Market today, or better yet, go by there off of County Road 140 and let them help you take the hassle out of the catering needs for your event this upcoming football season. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Ferguson of South's Finest Meats, the official sponsor of the Stingray Show, has a message for you.
Everything we do here is fresh and custom made, custom to order. You know, I tell people when they come in, you know, if you don't see what you like, ask somebody. You know, we've got the capability to process it, make it. You know, if you want a different blend of hamburger meat, we'll do you a brisket blend. We'll do you a chuck blend. We'll do you a sirloin blend. You know, we do all that right here. We are a butcher shop. It's what we do. So please don't be afraid to ask if you don't see what you like. We can make you any size patty you want. We can make you any amount you want. You know, people call me and say, well, how many patties come in the box? Well, ma'am, how many would you like in a box? You know, you want 12, we'll put 12. You want 25, we'll put 25.
That's just one of the many things that South's Finest Meats has to offer, the official butcher shop of the Stingray Show.
Hey, this is Wyatt Fulton.
The best place for your high school football coverage is right here on Tide 100.9 and online on Tide100.9.com.
We all enjoy the changing of the seasons. Fall is a special time to be thankful for our families and many blessings. It is also a great time, though, to review your insurance coverages. Alpha Insurance and hometown agent Jeff Nee can help you personalize your insurance needs. The more you protect, the more you save. With helpful customer service teams right here to serve you in Alabama and over in Mississippi, you can count on Alpha to provide the insurance plan that provides the protection that you need. For all your auto, home, life, and business insurance needs, call Alpha agent Jeff Nee at 205-758-2577 or drop by his office at 202 McFarland Boulevard East, Suite 101 in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And remember, with Jeff Nee, the more you protect, the more you save. Welcome back inside the Stingray Show. We just finished up talking about the LSU side of the Texas A&M matchup, and now let's focus our attention on Texas A&M as they are coming into this football game with LSU red hot after beating Arkansas. However, the Texas A&M defense did give up over 500 yards of offense to Arkansas, so they've been just a little bit leaky last week. So to talk about this matchup from the A&M side, here is our friend Olin Buchanan from Texags Radio. Olin, how are things with you in Aggie Land as you guys get ready for another major matchup in the SEC? And this time it is at a place that A&M has not won since 1994.
Yeah. You said that the A&M defense was a little leaky. That's like saying the Jamestown flood was a little leaky, because the A&M defense played just incredibly poor. It was an incredible poor performance. They had opportunities and were always letting, but they always were quite frequently unable to corral Taylor Green, who played great. There's almost maybe a blessing in disguise in that, but only because they won. Because if you lost, what a disaster. But having won, Elko can, they had played 3 really good defensive games in a row, and I think they started getting away from some of the things they did right. And I think he's got it now on the film to say, look, guys, I'm telling you what you have to do. No more of this freelancing. You're a good defense if you play within the structure of the defense that they've got. So I think you'll see A&M's best version of their defense this week. However, I think you're going to see the best version of LSU. And, we've talked about it before. There seems to be this idea that LSU isn't that good this year. Man, they lost on the road by a touchdown to a very good Vanderbilt team that dang near beat Alabama, and some people might say they should have, two turnovers in the red zone, and then they lost by 5 at Ole Miss. So, this isn't they aren't some punks out there that you just go over there, expect to go over there and push around, especially, like you said, A&M hadn't won since 1994 there. Now, they didn't always play. In fact, from 94, they didn't play again in Baton Rouge, I think, until 2013. And the reason why, and LSU folks don't like to hear this, but it's the truth. Back in 94, that was the 5th consecutive win in the series that A&M had over LSU, so LSU ended the series. So they quit. And that's
Imagine
true.
that.
You can look it up. But, man, things changed. Things have changed. And so now it's up to A&M to try to go over there and exorcise the demons of Death Valley.
Olin, let's briefly recap that Arkansas game. And the one thing that I do want to talk about, it was scheduled for a 2:30 kickoff. It did not start until 4:30 local time due to the weather. That had to be a disaster for you guys in the media.
Since you asked about it, so
curiously, Arkansas doesn't open their press box and distribute credentials until 2 hours before the game. Every place else I've ever been for the 40 years I've been doing it is a 3-hour thing. So, okay, 2 hours. And so they were really late at sending out their parking passes. So we hadn't gotten ours by the time we had the drive. So I get a hold of the SID and he tells me, well, here's a free lot you can park at about a mile from the stadium. And he says, but you better get there early because it fills up fast. So we get there early upon his instruction, and we are making the mile walk to the stadium. And this is about 11:20. So we're getting there an hour before, and we expect to wait an hour. And he sends out an email at 11:23 saying, hey, the game is going to be postponed 2 hours, so we're not going to open up the press box until 2:30. Well, about that time, the monsoons come, and there's lightning going everywhere, and it looks like Desert Storm, and with the lightning and the thunder and hail. And I'm like, hey, fortunately there was a guy in like this loading area. He said, hey, you guys get out of this, come stand here. But they still wouldn't open the press box. They let the TV crew come in, and they let the radio guys from both teams come in, but everybody else had to stay out for 3 hours. So I think Arkansas is going to win a bunch of games this year. I really do, that they have left. But I'm going to root against them.
Dude, that's awful. That's piss poor planning.
And we kept texting him, and his answer was always, the press box opens at 4:30.
Wow.
So, yeah, pig suey.
Yeah. All right. So,
but I only told that because you asked.
Gotcha. We're up against our final break of the evening, Olin, and when we come back, we are going to dive into this matchup from the A&M side and get your prediction. That's on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Stingray Show. Olin Buchanan will finish it up with me right after this. Olin, have you got another 10 minutes?
I got 10 minutes from you.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming up on the Thursday edition of The Game, we're going to talk to Thompson High School football coach who just sent his quarterback to the University of Alabama. Mark Freeman is going to join us. We'll talk to Josh from College Football Nerds. We'll talk to Rodney Orr, TiderInsider.com. We'll also have a chance to catch up with Bruce Marshall right here starting at 2 p.m. on The Game with Ryan Fowler on Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest running sports program in Tuscaloosa. The Game with Ryan Fowler. Weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Has it always been your dream to build the pond of your dreams, but you don't know if property you own or are thinking about buying has a good location to build a pond on? You need to contact Honey Hole Fisheries right here in Tuscaloosa County, because Jeff Bagwell will help you decide if property you own or are thinking about buying has a good location to build a pond. You can contact Honey Hole Fisheries at 205-799-0192. Once again, that is 799-0192. And hey, Jeff Bagwell can also order top quality automatic fish and hunting feeders for all of your outdoor recreation. Contact Jeff Bagwell today, once again at 205-799-0192 to help you build the pond or lake of your dreams. For over 100 years, the Bank of Moundville has been a name clients can trust. The Bank of Moundville is more than just a bank. They're your neighbors, your friends, and your community partners. Their unique approach to financial education has always centered around families. They believe that financially strong homes today lay the foundation for a brighter futures for tomorrow's generation. You can call them today at 205-371-2227. Once again, that is 371-2227 to schedule an appointment to build your your financial security. The Bank of Moundville is a member FDIC and an equal housing lender.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. North on Highway 69 from Old Greensboro Road to Skyland Boulevard, it's an 8-minute drive. East on McFarland from Coker to Jack Warner Parkway, it's a 14-minute drive. Watch for ongoing construction on McWright's Ferry Road. It's being extended down to Rice Mine Road. Also long-term construction on Skyland from I-359 to Buttermilk Road. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Lisa Baque.
You're listening to the home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. Tide 100.9.
Welcome back inside the Stingray Show. My Texas A&M guest this evening is Olin Buchanan from Texax Radio, as we are doing a preview of LSU and Texas A&M. And Olin, what are your thoughts on the issues of this LSU offense this season so far?
I think I don't get to see them all the time. My son goes to LSU, so I hear him talk about it, and then I see things when I get a chance to watch them. And I think it's as simple as offensive line issues. They had 4 guys in the offensive line last year that are now in the NFL, and one of them was the 4th player taken in the draft, and they're just not as good up front. I mean, it's that simple. And they can't run because of that. They weren't a great running team last year with those guys. So you take those guys off, and of course, you take even a greater step back. So they do have explosive ability. If they might block one all right, or if you make a mistake, Caden Durham can take it 50 yards. He's done that a couple of times this year. But they're just not as good up front. And as good as Garrett Nussmeier is, we saw last year at A&M and a lot of other places, when he's under pressure, he becomes subject to making mistakes and becomes ordinary, like almost every quarterback, except for Taylor Green last week. But like almost every quarterback, and he's just not getting as much protection. I don't know if he's getting sacked at a higher rate or anything like that, but he's just not. I don't think and there's this talk that he may have had some kind of abdominal injury and things like that, and that plays into it. But I just think that it really starts with they're just not as good at the line of scrimmage as they have been, and it's a line of scrimmage league. And if you're getting beat at the line of scrimmage, you're probably going to lose.
All right, let's dive into this matchup, and let's begin with one of the more intriguing matchups, and that is what everybody would call an elite defense for LSU against Marcel Reed and the offense for Texas A&M. Your thoughts on that matchup of LSU's D versus A&M's O?
I think A&M's very explosive offensively. The only team that's kept them under 31 was Auburn, and A&M moved the ball up and down the field. It was A&M's own penalties that was the problem in that game. So I expect A&M to be able to score. I think that A&M is the best running team that LSU will have faced, including Vanderbilt. And I know that Diego Pavia had some really good runs against LSU. And it seems to me that even if you go back to last year, that maybe even 2 years, but that LSU struggles against running quarterbacks. It's like you get everything else, accounted for, but they just have trouble figuring out the running quarterback. We saw that when they came to play A&M last year. They're dominating the game. It's 17-7. And in the third quarter, A&M gets turnover, and Mike Elko makes a change and brings in Marcel Reed, and boom, boom, boom. Next thing you know, A&M's up, and Marcel scores 3 touchdowns. And so The difference is that this year A&M's not asking Marcel to run as much. He's not as involved in the running game. Now, he scrambles, and he had a 46-yard scramble last week to set up a touchdown, and then he had one at the end of the game that was called back on what I thought was a bogus penalty, but okay, they didn't ask me. And Marcel certainly has the big play ability in him to make a playoff schedule that just can frustrate a defense. So I would expect him to be more involved in running this week, even though they do like him in the pocket and throwing. But, you know, the combination of Casey Concepcion and Mario Craver has just made A&M so much more dangerous. And then when you add in that Ashton Bethel Roman starting to emerge as a third option, he had 89 yards receiving last week. You know, that's a tough offense to face. Now, am I saying that they're going to go up and put 40 against LSU? No, I'm not predicting that at all. But I do think that they're going to have some offensive success. I think the key for A&M, obviously, you know, in every game, you say don't turn the ball over and try to limit your penalties. But I think it's on the A&M defense to make sure that LSU remains the team that they've been. You don't want them to figure it out offensively against you.
Right.
Because you know that Stingray, I'm going to give you a lineup. I'm going to say Garrett Nussmeier, Trey'Dez Green, Aaron Anderson, and you're like, you know, that's just the start. Caden Durham, and you're thinking, who's going to stop those guys, right? I mean, they've got some offensive big play threats there. They're better offensively than their performances have been. So you don't want to be they're going to figure it out sooner or later. You would think. You just don't want it to be against your team that they figure it out.
So we've dove into the matchup just a little bit here. Olin, who do you have winning in Tiger Stadium Saturday night, where Texas A&M has not won since 1994, and oddly enough, Texas A&M is favored in this game. Who has the win Saturday night there at LSU?
Man, I was 32 when I was covering that game, and they won in 94, and now I'm almost 64. All good things and even hopefully bad things come to an end. So sooner or later, the odds are the law of averages has got to be on your side, right? So if not this year win, I'm going to take A&M to win something along the lines of 27-17, maybe 24-17, 23-17. But I think A&M covers by a touchdown or a little more, and I do think you're going to see the best version of A&M's defense. And hey, LSU again. You have to respect the talent on that offense, but they haven't put it together yet. And I'm banking on them not putting it together completely against A&M.
All right. And finally, as we walk out the door, your arch rival, the Longhorns of Texas, had a horrible performance on the road at Kentucky this past weekend. Now they invade Starkville on Saturday. Your thoughts on the Longhorns and the Bulldogs in Starkville?
I don't know that the Longhorns know what they're getting into.
Right.
Because, you know, cowbells clanging for the cows. I think that Mississippi State team's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what do they call it? Transitive properties don't work, but Mississippi State played Florida a hell of a lot better game than Texas did.
Yes.
Because Texas made it close late, maybe when Florida was in prevent or something like that. They made it respectable, but Florida dominated that game. Florida did not dominate Mississippi State.
Right.
And I think Mississippi State's better than Kentucky. And Kentucky should have won that game. I don't know what Mark Stoops was thinking running the same play. Yeah, I don't know that, you know, I'll just go out on the limb and I'll say I'm gonna, if I had a cowbell ringing, I'm thinking the Bulldogs are gonna win that game. I think, you know what, way back in the day, it's probably been 40 years, might be the last time that Texas went out to Starkville. And I think they were ranked then too. And as my recollection is,
Mississippi State pushed them around that day, and I think they might just do it again.
Olin,
certainly hope so.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Horns down, man. Horns down in Hell State.
Horns down forever. And Hell State every time except when they're playing the Aggies.
So, Olin, look, man, enjoy the trip over to LSU. Hopefully, A&M can get out of the woes of playing at LSU. Good luck to A&M this weekend. Gig 'em and leave us with your famous catchphrase.
Well, I don't know how famous it is. Look, I just love America, and I know you do too. So all you patriots, hey, let's keep loving America, but always remember that America starts with A&M.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. Whoop. Gig 'em, and we will catch up with you next week, okay?
All right, Stingray. See you later.
Thank you, man. Oh, you gotta love Olin Buchanan. Oh my gosh, he is so awesome. He's a great guy. And hey, Texas A&M is really on a roll this year. And congratulations to Mike Elko for turning that program around. And that is going to put a wrap on this edition of the Stingray Show. When the Stingray Show returns on Thursday evening, we are going to be previewing a game that could be a potential game-saving game for Hugh Freeze. I have a feeling if Hugh Freeze loses to Arkansas, he will be on the chopping block on Sunday. We are going to dive into Arkansas versus Auburn as we are going to be joined by Kevin Bohanna of hogsports.com and Kyle Rush, host of The Barn, will join us for a preview of the Hogs and the Tigers in Fayetteville. That is on the Thursday evening edition of the Stingray Show. We're back at 6 p.m. our normal time tomorrow evening, and have a wonderful Thursday out there, West Alabama. See you tomorrow evening.